And we are live.
What's up? I hope
Hello.
पहले तो एक तो ऑडिबल हो यार क्योंकि ये मैं थोड़ा अलग सेटअप कर रहा हूँ. Didn't have time to set up probably, so I hope I'm audible.
नहीं नहीं.
चिंतन मैं you.
Yes, loud and audible and welcome family. देख रहे हो, एक बाजू स्माइल है, एक बाजू उदासी रहेगी और एक बाजू योगेश एनालाइज करने आया है. जैसे वो हेड मास्टर होते हैं. बट गाइस, व्हाट अ टाइम फॉर्चुनेटली टू बी अ मिलान फैन. थोड़ा होप्स वापस आ गए हैं, ऐसा थोड़ा फीलिंग लग रहा है. Some silver lining after a great tournament actually. Forget the silverware. I feel Param, Yogesh, it's not even about the silverware. It's about टीम आ गई पिच में, ऐसा लगा. आफ्टर अ लॉन्ग टाइम एक सेंस ऑफ बिलीफ जैसा दिख रहा था. सो परम, फर्स्ट आई गेट टू यू मैन. लाइक ग्रेट टीम एंड सब लोग बोलते हैं दैट सिमोने इज सुपर कोपा मैनेजर है जैसे. सो व्हाट आर योर ओपिनियंस? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वी हैव आमिर विद अस, लाइफ लॉन्ग मिलानिस्टा. जो ही वाज अ स्पेशल फीचर इन आवर रील्स आल्सो, द मोस्ट पॉपुलर. Amir, welcome.
Hi.
तो
यार
परम
पहले
पहले.
तो before चिंतन भाई I give my view. Let me just see who's in the house here. पहले obviously let's tend to our audience. ये I guess definitely Milan fans होंगे. Italy is healing after this week. रवि की ट्रोलिंग तो चलती रहती है. 10 बजे नहीं
चालू
भाई,
हो गया.
पहले ही चालू कर. Yeah. Obviously Shubdeep is there. Ajay Ravtani says, of course, more Milan fans in the house. Uh, Two finalists along with the guy. देख भाई, दो ज्यादा टाइम हुआ नहीं है स्कूडेटो जीत जीत के इनको, तो आई मीन आई डोंट नो व्हाट यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट रियली. योगेश भी बोलेगा वही. या गुरी आई थिंक इज एन अटलांटा फैन इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग. तो
Yes.
या डेफिनेटली आई एम नॉट मैन. लुक, बहुत ट्रॉफीज जीत लिए, मुझे एक ट्रॉफी हारा उससे इतना प्रॉब्लम नहीं है भाई. बहुत ट्रॉफीज जीत लिए ओवर द इयर्स. सो yeah, it, entertainment wise, so definitely, obviously, if a neutral tunes in, they will obviously enjoy the game. Matlab, no doubt about that. Because you're talking about finally the derby not being one-sided. ऐसा लग रहा था ठीक है एक गेम जीते, but can Milan repeat it? I guess, and we saw कि second time in a row also Milan could win it this time around. And मैं वही बोल रहा था बार-बार. I've spoken before I talk about the Inter side of things. I am not surprised. I've spoken about Conceiçao as a coach. I've watched him at Porto before Porto. I've pretty much followed his career, and I'm not really surprised he instilled this confidence ये Milan team में, क्योंकि I've seen him do it at Porto, especially week in week out, make certain average players, I'm talking about Porto, look very good, and we saw the result कि अगर आपको instant एकदम galvanize करना है किसी को, तो then like Conceição is one of the go-to coaches. So it doesn't really surprise me per se. Mihir is also there. Yeah, Fratesi तो भाई उसको तो निकाल ही दो टीम से, वो एक अलग conversation है. Uh, yeah, again Conceição the goat. Uh, this so I think this is just hype because I mean in the Champions League semi-final I don't know what I mean he probably needed more than 90 minutes to make a difference. But leaving all that aside, I think हाँ बोलो चिंतन भाई.
नहीं वही बोला कि चैंपियंस लीग में फर्स्ट लेग में तो he was not there also. You I
Yeah,
think missed the
but
first leg.
second leg when he returned,
साले तुम लोग ने
when
फर्स्ट लेग
he
में साला वाइंड अप कर दिया था रे. पहले 10 मिनट में तो गेम खत्म कर दिया था फर्स्ट लेग में. बट यार Param, I know we watched it. I could hear your frustration over the WhatsApp messages and all. So first I'll come to you yaar, because commiserations for the loss. Hard pill to swallow after winning so much, especially the SuperCoppa manager बोलते Simone को. I think 2 with Lazio and 3 with Inter. Right?
I mean
Two with
correct.
Lazio. I know he won 2 with Lazio तो जीता था. Yeah, 3 back to back. I think this could have been a fourth. So पहली बात तो यार at 2-0 I know of course you would say that of course you knew कौन सा, but एक थोड़ा तो relief होगा at 2-0 के okay boss this is going well. I know you of course हम लोग बोलते हैं कि you never give up and of course you can't always think, but did you really think that eventually जीत जाएंगे कि मन में लगा penalty हो जाएगा, penalty shootout जाएगा?
Look, yeah, I was not like convinced even at 2-0 ki like the game is over. I obviously एक relief रहता है. Obviously I was a bit relieved, but the thing is I was not really happy entirely with how we were playing. Also, एक तो you have to remember with the injuries, we obviously everybody has injuries, but the thing is the same backline for us has been playing week in week out, and I feel maybe सुपर कोपा में थोड़ा अगर सिमोने इंजागी ओवरऑल टीम को रोटेट करता तो शायद गेम बेटर मैनेज कर पाते. इवन इन द सेमीफाइनल if let's say against Atalanta he plays a Zielinski or Fratesi more, I feel थोड़ा breather मिल जाता to certain players, and I feel that's where we probably missed a trick. With that being said, अगर देखो De Vrij was still fine, but then you this is what I've been saying all summer, that if you I was right eventually in the end. Ki, I think we should have signed another defender or at least one center back to replace one of Acerbi or De Vrij, because again yesterday also De Vrij got injured towards the end of the game and he had to be taken off, and then that took an effect, that took a toll, right? So and obviously we conceded because of that. So वो मतलब है कि I was not really convinced, mainly because I mean, even at 2-0, Lautaro said post game, na, we didn't play like we usually do. We didn't assert ourselves like we usually do when we are in control. वो नहीं किया. And again, with the coach, with an opposing coach like Conceiçao, you can't give them even the slightest of क्या बोलते हैं, opportunities, so that they'll come sniffing. Simple है. Conceiçao को मैं again I'll say the same thing. Lautaro said this, Simone Inzaghi said this, कि AC Milan deserved to win because we kind of relaxed, and then obviously Milan saw the opportunity and they made a comeback. And obviously the biggest talking point has to be, I think the biggest thing that affected us was Hakan's injury, because Aslani is just not up to it. मतलब first और third goal पे तो he got absolutely destroyed, right?
वो तो
First goal पे तो
असलानी का तो अलग टॉपिक है, उसके बाद we'll of course get to असलानी, but of course Yogesh is here and Amir is here. Amir, I'll get to you first. I'll get to Yogesh. Yeah, Yogesh, पहली बात तो eventual winners से जो मेरे prediction में तो actually didn't even have Milan in the finals. So overall, are you surprised with the result?
Yeah, definitely. Like अगर मैं टूर्नामेंट के स्टार्ट में अगर मैं बिलीव करूँ, like I was like hoping, not hoping, who would probably win it, who has the better chances. Yeah, expectations to Inter का ही जाता था, and going into the match as well, like Inter was super favorites, like they defeated Atlanta on the way as well, right? So Inter was super favorites, but Milan brought a rabbit out of the hat and they turned this around completely.
Wow, man. पहली बात तो Amir, by the way, I think we are wearing the same jersey.
Yeah.
We are wearing the same jersey, yaar. Great minds think alike, yaar. Amir, first of all, welcome. I think this is the second time, the podcast में first time, but I think you are part of a very very amazing reel, जो बहुत सारे questions raise हुए Amir अपने आपके मिलानिस्ता होने पे, because of course you had the most controversial answer when you were asked Shevchenko or Paolo and you chose Shevchenko. Of course, that's your own call. First of all, yaar, by the way, Param and Yogesh, to tell you, we go, of course, way back. I've known him for a long time, and he's a die-hard Milanista. He's been supporting Milan for a very long time. I think banter era में सबका मिलान से प्यार तो कम नहीं हुआ, लेकिन वो एक छूट गया था, देखना छोड़ दिया था. मतलब we've become stone of heart of stone हो गया था अपना. So Amir, first of all, यार, two questions for you. Surprised by the back-to-back derby wins, because derby तो भी ऐसा हो गया. City, I didn't mind facing Manchester City, but Inter के सामने face करते थोड़ी फट जाती थी. So over the years, of course, we've seen a very close derby going on. बाद में complete domination of Inter, एक decade का बोल सकते हैं. So first of all, how surprised were you by this result, यार?
भाई इतने सालों से गरीबी देख रहे हैं, मेरे ख्याल से 2006-2007 से हमने सिर्फ गरीबी देखी है. मैंने ऐसा पहले टाइम था जब हम मतलब अराउंड 2004-5 नया नया इंटरनेट मिला था, हम स्टैट्स देखते थे, मिलान का स्टैट्स, मिलान वर्सेस इंटर का स्टैट. उसके बाद एक ऐसा टाइम आया कि मैंने स्टैट देखना ही छोड़ दिया कि मिलान और इंटर का हेड टू हेड क्या हुआ है. अब फिर बाद में ऐसा टाइम आ गया कि मैंने फिर वो नंबर ऑफ स्कूडेटी भी देखना छोड़ दिया कि कितना हमने जीता है. इंटर ओवरटेक करके चला गया है, 2 स्टार आ गए. बहुत जिल्लत सहन की है पिछले 10-15 सालों में. अब तो मतलब सोचना भी पाप है हमारे लिए कि हम इंटर के अगेंस्ट जीतेंगे, ऐसा हालत है. तो कोई एक्सपेक्टेशन था नहीं क्योंकि बहुत बुरी हालत हुई थी. लकीली फोंसेका को क्रिसमस वाला केक खाने मिला, लेकिन उसका भी टाटा बाय बाय हो गया था. तो सबसे बड़ा मतलब क्या बोलूं मैं, शौक तो था, लेकिन क्योंकि कॉन्सेसाओ आया है, अगर मैं देखूं हमारा जो पास्ट हिस्ट्री रहा है, मुझे नहीं लगता कि कोई इतना डेकोरेटेड कोच हमारे पास कभी आया था मिलान के पास. आई थिंक मे बी 97 98 जो भी सीजन था, तब फाती तेरिम था लास्ट
Yeah.
जो डेकोरेटेड कोच आया था। 3 4 टर्किश लीग टाइटल जीता था, एक यूरोपा लीग जीत के आया था गैलाटासराय से।
हाँ,
उसके बाद हमारे बस वही जो नोन मिलान एक्स मिलान प्लेयर्स थे या फिर इटालियन कोचेस छोटे मोटे लेके आए हम।
100%.
तो
एंचेलोटी
प्रॉबली
भी आई
दिस
थिंक जुवेंटस से ही आया था, मतलब ऑफ कोर्स नॉट
यू
एज डेकोरेटेड.
एंcelotti वाज अ चोकर, मतलब वो चोकर टैग लेके आया था यूवेंटस में। लास्ट के महीने में टाइटल वाइटल हारा था,
हाँ,
पार्मा में था तब भी हारा था, तो कुछ
या
था नहीं। तो कॉन्सेकाओ, आई थिंक मैंने जितना फुटबॉल देखा है, कॉन्सेकाओ इज द मोस्ट डेकोरेटेड कोच व्हाट मिलान हैज नाउ। और वो ऐसा पेडिग्री लेके आता है, 3 4 लीग टाइटल जीता है। आई थिंक चैंपियंस लीग में भी सेमीज या क्वार्टर
क्वार्टर्स
गया था, नॉकआउट
क्वार्टर्स
नॉकआउट
क्वार्टर्स.
गया हुआ है। एज अ प्लेयर भी काफी कुछ जीता है, तो बहुत ही डेकोरेटेड कोच है और वो लेके आता है अपने साथ। तो वो देख के थोड़ा अच्छा लग रहा है कि फाइनली मिलान हैज अ गुड कोच। और आई थिंक ये आने वाला भी था, ये सीजन के स्टार्ट में ही आने वाला था, बट
या
वो लोगों ने कुछ फेर बदल करके फॉन्सेका को लेके आ गए।
या
तो
आई
बहुत
नो.
बड़ा शौक था, मैच एक्सपेक्टेड नहीं था। सबसे बड़ा इसमें अगर मैं देखूं तो आई थिंक राफेल लेआओ का जो रिसर्जेंस था बहुत बड़ा टर्निंग पॉइंट है। आई थिंक ये आगे एक अच्छा इम्पेटस देना चाहिए, क्योंकि जो तीनों गोल में देखेंगे, तीनों गोल में उसका अच्छा इन्वॉल्वमेंट था। जो आई नहीं,
सीओ का.
2 गोल में जो
हाँ,
सेकंड गोल गया था पुलिसिक वाला, उसमें उसने
हाँ.
थियो को थ्रू
रिलीज
दे
किया
दिया
था.
था,
या.
रिलीज कर दिया था। फिर बाद में टैमी एब्राहम का भी बहुत अच्छा उसने असिस्ट किया, तो लियाओ दिख रहा है। और उसका पोस्ट मैच कमेंट्स भी अच्छा था कॉन्सेसाओ के बारे में। तो आई थिंक एक नया जोश लेके आया है कॉन्सेसाओ।
या
या
मैन. पर बट यू नो, मैं माय क्वेश्चन इज, जैसे अमित परफेक्ट बोला, यू नो योगेश, पर माय ऑलवेज क्वेश्चन इज, नाउ दैट ऑफ कोर्स सब लोग बोल रहे हैं, बैठ रहा है कौन से सा पॉजिटिव एनर्जी दिस एंड दैट, डिड मिलान मिस अ ट्रिक परम बाय नॉट गेटिंग हिम at the start of the season and getting Fonseca? Where do you think Milan went with Fonseca and not with Conceiçao? Because Conceiçao is again very direct coach है, जैसे हम लोग ने last time थोड़ा similarity I had asked you, very similarity to Diego Simeone. So probably they wanted a tactician in Fonseca. वैसा कुछ है था कि what was, why did they? ये eventually of course ifs and buts का game है, but do you think they
या
made a mistake now in hindsight?
हाइंडसाइट में तो आई मीन बोलना आसान हो जाता है कि गलती की, बट व्हाट आई से इज आई स्टिल डोंट थिंक फोंसेका वाज लाइक अ मिस्टेक पर से। दे वांटेड टू गो बाय एन आइडेंटिटी। आई वुड से अगेन, आई पहले तो याद करें कि लोपेटेगी वाज द फर्स्ट चॉइस एंड देन द होल प्रोटेस्ट एंड एवरीथिंग हैपेंड।
Yeah,
वो भूल नहीं सकते आप लोग। और फिर आप लोग फोंसेका पे आए, बट अगेन आई डोंट थिंक लोपेटेगी वुड हैव बीन द राइट हायर फॉर यू एनीवेज। I still will disagree if anyone says Fonseca was the wrong hire, because again he has a certain way of playing, और उसके लिए आपके पास necessarily वो kind of players नहीं. It's something that builds over the years. It doesn't happen in half a season, not in one transfer window, not in two transfer windows, at least three, four properly if you really think about it, given the financial reality of Italian football. So Fonseca पे तो harsh भी थे, given we saw how he exited, how he was informed of the decision and all that. But ऐसा लग रहा था कि maybe to an extent he must have lost the dressing room or whatever. But again, coming to the point, I saw some rumors as well कि हाँ Conceiçao को hire नहीं कर पाए summer में because there was a whole clause and everything.
yeah, with
I don't
Porto.
necessarily buy that. Yeah, I don't necessarily buy that, because again, someone who follows Porto very closely, as almost my second club, I know he left Porto on very sour terms. Like him and his son both, दोनों का झगड़ा हुआ Andreas boss के साथ, who ended up obviously being the new president.
Yeah.
So that might make you feel old, by the way. But
Yeah.
there was no room to negotiate any clause with Villa's boss. They left on a very sour note. They had like one meeting where they tried to keep Conceição, not, but they didn't try desperately. They were like, तेरे को
Yeah.
रहना है तू रहे वरना जा. And I remember Conceição even then was linked with Milan. So I don't believe there was a club clause. I just believe Milan went with what Ibra said in his interview, somebody who matches that certain way of playing. जैसे Rohit, obviously Milanista says, who will be joining us on the stream, कि they wanted someone to focus on a certain way of playing, positional play, this, that. And I feel Fonseca की एक वो थी गलती की थोड़ा ज्यादा emphasis, over emphasis था एक certain way of खेलने में, because you do not have those kind of players. And Conceição जैसे हम जानते हैं, his primary objective, as he said, is winning, nothing else, doesn't matter how it comes. And again, as someone who watches Porto very regularly, I've seen this. So I feel Milan did get it wrong in the summer. Again, sorry, my bad. I mean, I don't mean to say you got it wrong. I just feel the management didn't handle the situation properly. Don't think Fonseca was the wrong hire, but obviously Conceiçao would have been the better hire because आपको एक ऐसा मैन मैनेजर चाहिए जो आपकी टीम को स्टार्ट से गैल्वनाइज करे. अगर वो होता भी तो let's see, you would have probably had way more points in the league as well in general. You wouldn't be dropping points against the smaller teams at least. So yeah, that's my assessment. But before I go to Yogesh, before he gives his 2 cents, I just want to take one comment, Chintan, because I find this very funny. Just where did this go? So this is very funny. So apparently Pioli is an Interista. That's why you guys lost 6 derbies in a row. Okay, man. Like if this is what you actually believe, भाई देख अगर पियोली भी कोच है तो ऐसे तो ना Allegri भी finished Allegri was finished Allegri was also Juventus. Sorry, बोलो.
Gasperini was also Inter coach, so मतलब that proves.
Yeah, Gasperini was Inter coach, and sorry, you're disrespecting Pioli, who won you a Scudetto, by the way. Just let me put that out there, right? So I don't know what you're trying to prove here. You should be happy with the fact that you actually won a trophy after so long. That's actually, we are here to actually, by the way, give respect to that fact. So I don't think you got the memo here. Yogesh, you can go ahead.
Yogesh, my another question is यार, because you are a player yourself, खेला है. ये अभी आमिर ने भी बोला, अभी परम ने भी बोला, एक टैक्टिशियन है, ओके, फोन्सेका जैसा एक टैक्टिशियन आया हुआ है, और एक बाजू है विनर, सीरियल विनर विद पोर्टो जो जीता हुआ है, एंड वी ऑल नो ही ट्रबल्ड इंटर आल्सो. जब इंटर फाइनल में गया था, ही ट्रबल्ड इंटर अ लॉट इन दैट गेम. आर्सेनल को भी होम लेग आई थिंक जीत गए थे, अवे में हार गए, मतलब दे लॉस्ट ऑन अवे गोल्स, एंड गोल्स पे हारे थे. आई डोंट थिंक सो ही इज ट्रबल्ड बिग टीम्स. अभी मेरे को बता, एज अ प्लेयर you get a tactician who is like, अरे ऐसा खेलो, and you get a serial winner जो बोले. So does it matter to a player? Manager है, उसको तो his job is to play under a coach, okay, for a club which is contacted. तेरे को लगता है इसमें कुछ फर्क पड़ता है? Because जैसे what I just saw of 2 games, it looks like the players are galvanized under Conceiçao, जो फोन्सेका के साथ शायद नहीं था. Do you think as a player, Param, Yogesh, it matters that you have a manager, ये serial winner है तो इसको ज्यादा respect मिलेगा, and Fonseca did not have the respect of Milan players? Do you think that happens?
I think at the end of his tenure, Fonseca sort of lost the dressing room, and I guess that was more of a reason for his sacking rather than the series of bad results that were there. I think management ने realize किया था कि players are not following his orders, and थोड़े से orders Fonseca के I can also imagine they were quite overwhelming. Like these Milan players have been at the club for a very long time, and the average age of the Milan team is also not so young, right? So they have they are conditioned to play in one way, and Fonseca coming in trying to change that. So like it was like teaching an old dog new tricks. तो वो थोड़ा सा बैठ नहीं रहा था, and that's why getting someone like Conceiçao, right, it gives you an impetus. Like you always, whenever you change a coach, like कोई भी teams कभी भी करती है, like they change a coach mid season, तो initially एक वो रहता है सब teams के पास में कि एक new coach is there, so there's new enthusiasm, there's new energy in the dressing room, players are more united. तो एक उसका काफी एडवांटेज मिलान को मिला, आई थिंक, इन दीज 2 games, and I think for the rest of the season, if things go well, then Milan should be able to salvage this season, because right now if we look at the larger perspective, right, so Milan season was going all downhill for quite some time.
Yeah, surely. बराबर perfect बोला है. By the way, we have 30 people with us here, guys.
Yeah, please like, share and subscribe, guys.
And please sending in your questions over here. यार एक ये भी comment है मिहिर का, यार, has Param broken his laptop? So
नहीं, I reached very late, so this was the quickest way to set up, because laptop पे कौन connect करते बैठेगा अभी. So and I'm not staying long, यार, I still have work as well. So क्या लिखा है?
योगेश भाई, आप मैथ्स में अच्छे हो क्या? आप देख के ऐसा लग भाई,
क्या कमेंट है भाई?
यार भाई ये तो नहीं, ऐसा नहीं, अभी मस्ती कर लो थोड़ा भाई. वो लोग तो हम लोग जैसे आमिर बोला, यू माइट बी अ न्यू मिलानिस्टा बॉस. हम लोग ने बहुत दुख दर्द देखे हैं. क्या बोलते हैं आमिर? 10-15 साल से बहुत दुख दर्द देखे.
अरे अभी पता ही नहीं चलता किधर किधर छेद हो गया शरीर में.
Yeah, I think, it is. I'll get to you that. But Amir, I'll come to you before I move to Param when it comes to this. More than Aslani, the Leo intent or chip.
Again, I don't think, with all due respect, Ajay is being. I think he's excited about the winner, but I don't think he's being reasonable with his argument. Obviously, Leo was brilliant. No denying that, because I feel, you remember after the game, I was very shocked that Tammy Abraham got the man of the match, whereas I felt it should have been Rafael Leao. I literally
Yeah,
was the
exactly.
first one to say that to you. I didn't understand why. I know he got it because he scored the winner, but I think Leao आया इसलिए game बदला एक तो पहली
No
चीज
doubt.
वो. So I think he's being very unreasonable. Maybe the more fan side of thing is coming out. That is where I don't take all this personally. But Aslani, simply because you could see the drop in quality. You saw the first goal when Morata won the ball off him uh, very easily, and he just does not have the physicality of Hakan. अगर उधर आप Hakan को डालो, Hakan will slide and do whatever, keep the ball, retain the ball, right? Simple as that. और third goal पे तो people have literally made videos of how tactically we move across the back line, और वो जो movement था, right, Leao का past
Yeah.
Aslani is supposed to be deeper, tracking the run, moving horizontally, basically like this. That's how our backline moves. It's programmed to move like that almost, and he just misses that. And obviously, if you give that kind of space to a player like Rafael Leao, जिसमें हम जानते हैं individual quality है, there is no denying that. Obviously, he's going to score. What did you think was going to happen? I mean, it's no surprise there. So that is why I'm a bit disappointed, and I'm looking at it also from the Inter perspective, because as good as Milan were, I do felt we made some weird errors. I did not see the best Inter yesterday. But again, as I said, कि अगर आप नहीं खेलोगे बराबर और अगर आप दूसरे टीम को अपॉर्चुनिटी दोगे, स्पेशली अगेन आई विल रिपीट माई सेल्फ और थोड़ा ब्रोकन क्लॉक की तरह, बट आई रेट Conceiçao a lot as a coach, and अगर आप उसको चांस दोगे तो then it's as good as you shooting yourself in the foot, and Milan deserved the win. There is no doubt about that. So as simple as that.
Ravi ka to of course trolling chala. I'm just here for Param bites
Look,
again.
wait, let me take one comment, right? This is funny because I have one comment of his, because I think he's trolling himself over here, because I know Ravi is more of a troll. कहाँ गया यार वो वाला comment उसका ऊपर एकदम? He says, कहाँ गया यार उसका कुछ तो था, beating Conceiçao isn't for everyone. कहीं तो उसने
Yeah.
लिखा था. By the way, we beat Porto, and you're an Arsenal fan. We literally beat you a few months ago, bro. Like few weeks ago, sorry. So I don't know what you're on about. So back at you, bro.
वो रवि है, उसका तो ऐसा ट्रोलिंग चलता रहता
I
है
know,
यार.
I'm just bantering with him. He's quite chill.
Yeah,
थोड़े comments ले रहे थे इंटरनेट before we go to Amir.
वही कर रहा
Uh,
मैं. Theo Hernandez made the
yeah,
most impact. Yeah, I think finally we saw the Theo which we want to see actually. वही देखने को मिला
yeah,
था.
where's the comment? Where's the comment? My bad. गलती
Yes,
से.
yeah, Theo made the most
Yeah,
impact.
yeah, he was amazing. As much as
Nitesh
I do
Mika.
not like, yeah, as
Yeah,
much as I
sure.
do not like Theo Hernandez, but putting my objective glasses on, he was brilliant. You have to admit it. Nothing else to it. It's as simple as that.
Then we had
So,
a discussion on another group. हम लोग मिलान के ग्रुप में एक डिस्कशन हो रहा था where
uh,
a lot of Inter fans hate Theo. Objectively, yes,
yeah,
of course, because he does a lot of things. But as you said,
yeah,
of course, it's very difficult to dislike a player what he is. But yeah, I'm not surprised that a lot of fans, opposing fans hate Theo because उसके antics बहुत है. So he's that kind of.
वो तो अलग साइड ना, वो तो अपना rivalry का साइड है. I'm being very objective. He played well. He was one of the contenders for the man of the match, I feel. And he was excellent. There is no two ways about it. Literally cried for 20 minutes continuously while watching coach Leao and everyone celebrating. Yeah. I mean, again, I think also one of the major reasons is आप लोग, मैं जो बार बार बोलता हूँ ना चिंतन भाई की, how we followed up with trophies, right? I don't know if
Yeah.
Amir has seen some of our streams, but I personally believe कि अगर आप Scudetto especially जीते, you have to follow it up with many trophies, at least, even if it's a SuperCoppa. It is important because for our league, it comes halfway through the season. It can affect you. It can affect your morale. And पैसा भी रहता है. आप 9 million जो भी है, 8 million है, that is enough to buy one player for
भाई,
our club.
सेरिया के क्लब में तो सच्ची वो ही होता है यार. बट यार आई नो, आई
Exactly.
टोटली सेंटिमेंट समझ रहा हूँ बिकॉज इट वाज वेरी अमेजिंग यार. आमिर तूने वीडियो देखा होगा Conceiçao क्राइंग. आई वाज वेरी सरप्राइज्ड टू बी 2 मैच के बाद इतना लगा. आई थिंक ही गिव अ लॉट.
वो उसको तो वायरल भी था ना. उसको तो वायरल.
एग्जैक्टली
By the way, Yogesh, I don't know if you know, he had high, मतलब एकदम हाई टेम्परेचर था, वायरल फीवर था Conceiçao को. Yeah,
इन्फ्लुएंजा.
and influence, and I guess Milanisti will be hoping कि वो दूसरों को पास ना कर दे भाई. अगले गेम के लिए न्यूज आ गया, सबको हो गया वायरल.
By the way, Param, just to tell you, Gabia was not playing because of a virus. Viral था. But the only my point is, वो celebration में भी injured हुआ. He got injured while celebrating also. उसको मरहम पट्टी कर रहे थे.
उसको पैर पे
Yeah,
लगी है. Correct.
but one good thing again, I was very happy to see that Milan गार्ड ऑफ ऑनर जैसा नहीं बोल सकते, बट दे वर स्टैंडिंग इन लाइन सो दैट इंटर प्लेयर्स कुड गो. दैट वाज अ वेरी गुड थिंग टू सी आफ्टर द गेम एट लीस्ट. बट
हम्म.
या मिलान और यूनाइटेड भाई भाई, ये यार ये कमेंट पता नहीं क्या करना है, ये कमेंट मेरे को मिलान और यूनाइटेड नहीं अभी ऐसा तो
अभी आप
आई होप.
अभी आप ट्रॉफी उठा दिए ना अभी. अभी
ऐसा
नहीं, अभी
होगा.
थोड़ा.
We won a league title also recently only, so I would not
Yeah,
want to be in that
exactly.
boat right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
वही है.
नहीं,
You
देख
just
टामी का वही है ना, ही इज अ वियर्ड प्लेयर रवि. लाइक आई एम प्रीटी श्योर मिलान फैंस, आमिर विल आल्सो एग्री कि यार मतलब वीक्स के लिए ही विल डू नथिंग एंड देन देयर विल बी दैट बिग मोमेंट वेरी रैंडमली स्टेप्स अप. सो आई गेस यू कैन अगेन, मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ ना कि ये प्योरली फॉर मी इज द कॉन्सेसाओ इफेक्ट. यू कैन
yeah,
हैव अ प्लेयर हु इज नॉट परफॉर्मिंग एंड सडनली आके परफॉर्म कर दे. लाइक
galvanized.
अगेन, एग्जैक्टली galvanize. एंड you saw his comments also. It really makes a difference. He's not pretentious. He actually believes in what he says. वो जो भी, it might sound ridiculous कभी कभी वो क्या बोले, but he actually believes in that. So we have also Sachin's comment, because I know he's your friend Chintan bhai. Indian show on the pod. Amir, because yeah, वो शॉट तो वायरल गया ही था शेवचेंको वाला.
अरे बहुत ही वायरल गया था.
Yeah, yeah. We need to cash in on Fratesi and Aslani. By the way, there is a whole clip on Twitter. I don't know if you guys saw. I'm sure Milanisti were busy celebrating, but Yogesh, I don't know if you saw. So towards the dying second after Milan had taken the lead, right, and ball bahar jata hai play ke, and Milan ko goal kick milta है, and Taremi rushes to get the ball to give it to Maignan कि भाई play चालू कर, and Fratesi was just walking on the sideline, and this is a player who had just come on as a sub, Chintan bhai, by the way, and he had already
Yeah, yeah.
given up. So I'm pretty sure
This
this
is
guy is done and
this,
dusted. He wants to leave.
this is Taremi playing after 90 minutes. For 90 minutes के बाद.
Exactly. Exactly. And this is a Fratesi that is come on. And I think he'll leave, but I was very disappointed. I'm like, तेरे को जाना है, तू जा भाई. I'm
Yeah,
done
वही
with
ना.
that. But yeah. Yeah, but I think we have Rohit joining if you want to add him. Yeah, I think you've added him.
Hi Rohit, how are you? Good to have you here.
1 minute, guys. 1 minute. 1 minute. Just give me a minute.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
so
Take
you
it.
can rejoin. You can rejoin. No problem. Chintan, you take, or if you have any questions for Yogesh also, let
Yeah.
him also have it.
Yeah,
Say,
मैं
then I'll
वही
leave him like
I'll
that.
ask Amir first, then I'll go to Yogesh. Amir,
Sure,
uh,
Amir, Yogesh, anyone.
my question to you is, इतने of course हम लोग का एक बहुत अच्छा डे. Of course you are a Sheva fan, so am I. शेवा इंजागी के बाद मतलब हंटला वंटला आए थे, मतलब टोरेस वोरेस जो प्राइम में था चले गए थे. वी नेवर हैड. उसके बाद एक डेकेड हो गया है. आई मीन वी नॉट हैड गुड स्ट्राइकर्स. इफ यू गो टू सी, वी ऑलवेज स्ट्रगल्ड इन दैट फ्रंट, यू नो. Zlatan को भी बाका था. Of course, I think Baka probably was our saving grace in our banter era. So there was something very different because hat-trick, I think last hat-trick भी उसने ही मारा है. So again, Morata, after Zlatan आया, Giroud आया, now we have Morata and Tammy. First of all, my question to you is, because I've been asked a lot of questions that Milan need good strikers. Do you think it's a step up from what we had, Morata and Tammy? Amir, what is your opinion on that as for the strikers?
Well, coming to your question, I think we have there were certain phases wherein we had some players like there was a momentary phase when we had Pato. He showed some
Yeah,
promise, and then
of course.
Ibra came in. Ibra था, फिर रॉबिन्हो तो कभी अपना उसने मड्रिड वाला पीक कभी हिट किया नहीं.
हाँ,
हंटेलार से काफी प्रॉमिस था, बट अगेन वो हंटेलार भी वो फार्मर लीग वाला प्लेयर निकल के आया. उसका एक ब्रिलियंट परफॉर्मेंस था, आई थिंक फ्योरेंटीना वाला था, जहाँ पे उसने 2 गोल मारा था आउट ऑफ द ब्लू और
yeah,
मैच ड्रॉ कर दिया था. नहीं, फ्योरेंटीना नहीं, सॉरी, कैटानिया था वो. फ्योरेंटीना में तो
yeah.
उसने गोल मार के ऐसे, क्या क्या
हाँ,
बोलते हैं
हाँ,
वो, हाथ वाथ ऐसे करके दिखाया था.
हाँ, 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 yes, yes,
तो
yes.
कोई स्ट्राइकर निकल के आया नहीं, टू बी ऑनेस्ट. बाका ऑलरेडी ही वाज 29 आई थिंक. और
Yeah, he was.
वो टाइम में मिलान था कि सब 28-29 ईयर्स के स्ट्राइकर्स देख रहा था. उसके पहले बहुत टाइम तक हम फ्रेडी कनूटे से लिंक थे, फिर बाद में वो एक सेविया का और एक स्ट्राइकर था, उससे लिंक थे, लुइस फाबियानो.
Fabiano, yes.
ऐसे सब रैंडम स्ट्राइकर से हमेशा लिंक रहे, कभी ऐसा प्रॉपर प्लेयर नहीं था. एक था जो क्लोजेस्ट था, टेवेस, जिसको गालियानी ऑलमोस्ट ले ही लिया था एंड मोमेंट पे, उसको डील क्लोज नहीं कर पाए थे.
हाँ,
अगर टेवेस आता सो प्रोबेबली जो यूवेंटस ने पीक देखा था
हाँ,
अलेग्री एरा में, कॉन्टे के बाद जो अलेग्री वाला एरा आया था, शायद वो उतना बड़ा पीक नहीं आता.
yeah,
और
surely.
और अभी कमिंग टू योर क्वेश्चन, मोराटा इज देयर, बट मोराटा कभी तुम्हारा 20+ गोल वाला स्ट्राइकर रहा नहीं है, ना ही टामी रहा है। टामी अब्राहम का एक रोमा में एक अच्छा सीजन था, मतलब
एग्जैक्टली।
अबव एवरेज बोल सकते हो। टामी अब्राहम से भी कोई ऐसे उम्मीद नहीं है, ना ही मोराटा से है। यू नीड अ गुड स्ट्राइकर। आपको एक 20 गोल वाला स्ट्राइकर मिल गया, यू आर अप देयर लाइक इंटर। आप चैलेंज कर सकते हो लीग टाइटल के लिए, बिकॉज आपके पास वैसे प्लेयर्स है जो ऑलरेडी लीग जीत चुके हैं। So
या
it's high time we should Milan should have a player like somebody like Osimhen. I do not know Osimhen के साथ क्या सिचुएशन रहा था, वो बहुत ही रैंडम हो गया था,
हाँ
probably सैलरी का इशू था, but we need a striker like Osimhen or somebody else. Maybe वो Jonathan David, I do not know कितना अभी उसका चांसेस है आने का, but
हाँ
मोराटा और टैमी अब्राहम के साथ there is no chance
ये
we can
sorry, but
challenge the title.
I find this comment hilarious. Imagine
नहीं भाई, भाई नहीं
I-
चाहिए याद है, ये तो नहीं चाहिए भाई। बट हमें एक्चुअली फन, वेरी फनी थिंग, जो दो स्ट्राइकर हम लोग के साथ लिंक्ड थे, थुरम एंड तरेमी, दोनों भी इंटर के लिए खेले, एंड यू सी द स्ट्राइक फोर्स एज यू सेड। वन आई माय पॉइंट टू कमिंग टू दिस क्वेश्चन इज, हाउएवर गुड लियाओ पुलिसिच विल बी, we can't afford to lose chances. We can't afford to lose many chances. एक स्ट्राइकर को ऐसा होना चाहिए जिसको चांस मिले गोल मारे. So coming to Yogesh on that only, in this striker front, we've had Zlatan, of course. Giroud has done exceptionally well for us. बहुत अच्छा किया था. But do you think इतना अच्छा विंगर्स है हम लोग के, Pulisic is probably having the best, उसका पीक चल रहा है, लिया of course is लिया. So do you think Milan is missing that striker right now, जो मतलब एक कमी है? Do you think that Morata or Tammy are good, or do you think they need to upgrade?
Yeah, definitely. Like Milan need to upgrade in the attacking department. Like Rafael Leo on his day will give you so many chances, right? But you need a player to accompany him to like finish off the chances that he'll be creating. And many times we have seen ki Rafael Leo goes and creates chance out from nothing, right? From no team play, like nothing, he is able to create chances. But you at least need one proper striker to finish those chances off here. So I think definitely Milan lacks a proper out and out 20 goal striker, as Amir was saying. If Milan such a striker, like even if they get Osimhen, right, then it will be a huge boost for Milan, and like they'll be back in the title conversation.
अच्छा यार वो,
I personally एक तो चित्तर भाई go ahead, yeah, रोहित के लिए भी आप पूछ ही लो.
हाँ रोहित, just welcome first of all. Congratulations on a brilliant win, yaar. Great to at least win a trophy. And as Param said, this trophy of course makes it a little different from the Community Shield. Is it's in the middle of the season, and it's a title. It's a challenge between 4 teams. It's a 4 team खेलते, so it's a very galvanizing or a very motivating trophy. And Rohit, coming to यार with this, अभी just किसी ने comment किया था, we are linked with Rashford over here. I have no idea where are we going to see him play, because Rohit, Rashford is again predominantly a left winger. I don't see him very happy. He's not been very happy when he's played as a striker. So what are we looking at? Like, why are we getting Rashford? Because he's never definitely not going to bench Liao, and he's definitely not going to settle for a secondary role. So where do you think this is coming from, man? You're mute.
Uh,
Rohit.
Yeah, I'm actually very confused about this transfer myself because we saw with this Okafor experiment, who himself is something like Rashford, where he's more of a second striker rather than a left winger. He's actually finding it difficult to find his feet in the team. Like he's not a striker, he's not a left winger, so he's something in between. And we are not somebody who needs in between. And one more thing is that we cannot afford Rashford to sit on the
yeah,
bench because
Of course.
he's earning what 14 million a season, so that's 7 million
Wow.
for 6 months, right? So you can't
Yeah.
allow him to sit on the bench. So I don't understand where these rumors are coming from, or maybe if it's an agent planting these rumors to maybe drive up his interest, because his stocks have gone down a lot after all those videos of him walking when he had to press, he's walking around. So that sort of attitude has not been tolerated at United, and I don't know
Yeah.
how he's going to be tolerated here at Milan when Conceiçao is something as somebody said is a Portuguese Conte.
yeah.
I feel like he would just like if he sees this kind of attitude on the pitch, he would just come out onto the pitch and beat him up right then and there. So
Yeah.
but yesterday Di Marzio gave a kind of a clue as to what kind of player we are looking as. We are looking for a left winger who can also play as a striker. So it's not just Rashford. We are also linked with Kolo Muani.
All one.
Yeah.
So I'm personally not happy with that. I'm not happy with that
Mm,
progress.
mm,
I
भाई
personally
mm.
would like.
we can't afford them all anyways. I don't think we can afford them. इधर जीतने पे 9
No,
million मिल रहे हैं भाई.
Nay, what I am thinking is, अपने को we need a different type of a profile. I want a winger who is a proper winger, a proper left winger, a proper inverted winger, or somebody who is actually left-footed who can cross, or something like that, something different from Leao. And we need a proper striker. The Yogesh Bhai was saying about a 20 goal striker. When was the last time we had a 20 goal striker?
I think
I think
Baka
it
is
was Ibrahim.
बाका
No, even
क्लोजेस्ट था
Baka didn't hit
18,
Baka didn't hit
19,
20.
19 था शायद.
19. Baka
18,
was
19.
19.
भाई but
Piontek hit 20. Piontek hit 20 with
overall
Genoa
Yeah.
and
no,
Milan.
जेनोवा प्लस था वो.
But
अरे
then
but
he
Rohit,
was.
that team with at least जो बाका के साथ टीम था 19 भी miracle था भाई with the midfield he had. I don't know how he scored those 19 goals.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, but
Let me
Rohit,
let,
Rohit, I'm going to come to you, but I'm going to come to
let,
Param first. हाँ.
let me take a few comments Chintan mein before that because थोड़े है audience में comments. Let me just take a few. Obviously the non-toxic ones. ये must question है though for Amir, who is more corrupt BCCI or FIGC. ये must comparison. What kind of a question is this? Like,
So
but again, like,
Vishak is our अपना हम लोग is a Milanista in our group, and of course
uh,
everyone knows Amir's distasteful hate towards BCCI and FIGC दोनों. So I guess that is a very interesting. Amir एक word में answer बता दे कौन more corrupt है.
अरे भाई बीसीसीआई के ऊपर कोई नहीं है.
okay,
वाह.
fair
जहाँ
enough. That's
पैसा
where
है
we end.
वही
That,
वही सबसे बड़ा करप्ट है.
that's where we end. Sachin says Inter has an uncanny knack of signing Amir. Yeah, I mean over the years, sure. But I wouldn't say that for Arnautovic or Correa, of course. मतलब वही एक अलग चीज है. अगर कल कोई और भी होता bench पे, you never know because Thuram was injured obviously yesterday. And if you had someone there, I also felt we missed someone like a Thuram by the way, Chintan by yesterday.
Yeah.
Like
I was
as
just
good as Taremi played, I felt वो bench पे impact bench से आने के लिए अगर कोई होता तो yeah, but again, as I said, it's done and dusted. We move. ये interesting comment. I only watched the final because of my crush Barella, but happy that Milan won something after a long time, says Shreya. There is one more comment about Hakan. I think this is what Mihir said. Inter becomes considerably weak without Hakan. Like, I think to an extent this is true. Like, I won't say dumb se weak, but the again I touched upon this in the beginning of the stream only. Ki the drop off is insane. Like Aslani is just not, he's just not a regista. He's just not that dynamic six who can be good off the ball, win the ball back, can hold on to it. And I think it's been 3 years now. 3 years he's been at the club, and we extended his contract probably so that we get good money if we can sell him to the Premier League or wherever. But yeah, it's been a disappointment because I really thought he has potential to do something. And yeah, I think it's time to move. मुझे लग रहा है फ्रतेजी और असलानी को अगर दोनों को बेच पाए समर में, एक को तो ऑलरेडी छोड़ना है, वो एक अलग स्टोरी है. But Aslani, I think, might be the next one because it's just not working out, unfortunately. Because Hakan can't play every game. He's injured now. Kalbi, you saw he got injured, and he's going to be out for a while at least. So, yeah. But yeah, Chintan, sorry, you wanted to ask something.
Param, I'll come to you, of course, then I'll come to Rohit because this is a
Yeah.
Inter-based question.
Yeah.
Of course, the way Inter set up is absolutely amazing. And I've been saying this for a very long time. Inter probably are the most toughest team to play for a team which presses high. जो भी press high करता है, Inter के सामने नहीं चलता है सब because Inter set themselves so well for counters. My question to you, Param, is I've seen 2 Milan derbies in a span of some time. दोनों टाइम पे बोल सकते हैं कि both the times the minute the subs happened things got worse. The first game में of course the subs were not for injury reasons. This season of course you have to remove Hakan. My second question is 82nd minute of the game, Param, 8 minutes to penalty shootout. Why was Barella subbed off? Can't be an injury.
No, Barella. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. You finish the question, then I'll answer.
My point is, a one-legged Barella is better than a fully fit Aslani. So was it right or was it just because he's worried? सबको पता है सिमोन इंजागी को बहुत, he's very worried about yellow cards always, वो बहुत
Yellow
सोचता
cards.
है. So do you
Yeah.
think that do you think that was a bad sub? मतलब क्या, what was the reason? I completely have no idea why he subbed Barella off.
Yeah, एक तो yellow card has to be one of the reasons because I think Barella was एकदम into the game. If you saw, he was very animated and he was more unhappy with the referee. ये वो ठीक है, that's part of the game. And I feel अगर उसको रखता तो शायद red card मिलने, because the refereeing I feel for both teams wasn't the greatest yesterday. I did not like how Scudetto officiated the game and I felt अगर और कोई एक साइड से भी कोई एंटिक्स कर देता तो शायद एक को तो रेड मिल जाता. एंड आई थिंक लास्ट वीकेंड ही हम लोग सेरिया में एग्जांपल देख लिया वेयर I think Monza Parma tha and who forgot to sub off. Like I think Monza did not sub one of their players on a yellow card and eventually it came, they lost the game because of that. So simply my point is कि Simone Inzaghi पे obviously ये वो किया जाता है कि he subs off players because of yellow cards unnecessarily. But I feel it was still an okay call because at some मतलब the way you guys were playing yesterday, the way you guys piled on the pressure. Let's say Barella found himself in a position to have to make a tackle, no choice. Obviously he gets sent off after that, so I feel it was still the right call. Barella sub theek hai. De Vrij sub, he got injured, which we got to know after the game, so again you can't complain there. And sorry, what was your second question? You asked something else as well, right?
Yeah, my point is that he just, of course, but it's so close to the game. So I think Barella is a
Yeah.
good enough player to know that, okay, I need to
Yeah.
close this game. But do you think my question I was getting to is, was it the yellow card or because he kept on talking to the referee and after coming off the bench, he kept on
Yeah.
talking about the one incident? Do you think Inzaghi ko laga ki he's too lost in that entire
Probably.
foul?
Yeah, probably because I mean, hey, I mean, again, you never know because I feel somewhere Simone felt like the officiating could have taken a toll, could have been a red card here and there. But again, the thing is, even if Barella is taken off, ठीक है, midfield weak हो गई. And sorry, I remember your question now because in both the derbies, the first derby this season, Aslani Fratesi came on and that was a voluntary substitution, which I never
Exactly.
understood in the first derby. And we obviously completely lost control and you guys obviously deservedly won there as well. And second derby में भी वही हुआ, this time Hakan injured. So clearly there is a pattern कि, as Mihir said, कि when Hakan goes off, there is a drop off, but then you still have to find ways to manage because it's not like other clubs don't have to do it. Matlab, it is on the player as well. Like there is one part of the fan base or the same fans in our fan base that say that Simone Inzaghi does not rotate the squad. When he rotates the squad, the players, when you see their actual, let's say, level, then you guys say isko khilaya kyun, right? That's the point. So what do you guys want is the question. So the simple point is Aslani 3 years into his tenure is not good enough to be Hakan's backup. A. Fratesi is unhappy being second fiddle to Barella and Mkhitaryan, if you put it like that. And I don't know where he thinks he can bench Barella and Mkhitaryan because both are miles clear of him. So if he wants to leave, he's free to leave. So essentially you have to replace both. So the thing is, these things can affect you into the season. I gave you the example जो रोहित ने भी मुझे Twitter पे share किया था, where Fratesi just gave up towards the end of the game. I'm like, why would you give up? You have won the Scudetto. You have to keep fighting for trophies whenever they come. So these kind of players, these dynamics affect your team here. That's why I'm not worried, but थोड़ा nervous रहूंगा about the rest of the season given the list of injuries right now. Bisek, Acerbi, Pavard, Hakan Çalhanoğlu. De Vrij is luckily not injured, it seems, but yeah, this is still the injury list. And then Davide Fratesi's tantrums on the side. So yeah, thoda worry to hai, but dekhte how it goes. I mean, as I told you, right, Chintan, as long as there is a reaction, I don't mind. This is our third defeat of the season. Obviously, two of them being against you and one against Leverkusen. As long as there is a reaction, I don't. This is fine. Agar these guys go out and beat Venezia and go on a winning streak, then theek hai, chalega. But if these guys are really rattled after the SuperCoppa loss, then it's an issue. So let's see where this goes.
ये देख ले. I don't know, Param Bhai and even I was calling for De Vrij to leave just 4 months ago after his performance.
Yeah, I think one of him or Acerbi should have left. I think Acerbi is the better player, but then last season he played the whole season with an injury. Like he managed through painkillers and everything, and right now you can see he's the one who's more injured. So we should have replaced at least one. So we can see. Yeah, this guy is the funniest one. This guy, let me reply to this. So deepest squad doesn't necessarily mean everyone is good enough, by the way. Fratesi, if you see his pass completion rate, he can't even complete basic passes. He's good at a certain profile, but doesn't mean he's as good as Barella. And it's not called an excuse. If somebody has an injury, it is you have an injury. Again, I think Chintan, this guy clearly missed the fact that uh, I clearly said that Milan deserved to win. So I don't know what this guy is on about. So I think
So
again, sorry,
yeah, I
bolo
think
bolo.
yeah, I think he's there's no giving any excuses. I think he's just saying Param is just justifying, not justifying, but bold रहा है कि इतनी injuries and he's been saying from the first minute that Milan deserved to win. Yeah, so I think he's never got it mixed up. He's never said it that Inter हार गए. He's always said that Milan won the game fair and square. So I think you're right. He might have got the agenda wrong. But yeah, I'll come to Yogesh. Yeah, Yogesh, you have to be a Juventus flag bearer for once. Yeah. So परम अपना यूवेंटस का कोई है नहीं तो अभी इसको ही बनाना पड़ेगा यूवेंटस और यार यूवेंटस का बोल सकते ऑफिशियली अनबीटन दे हैव आई थिंक लॉस्ट 2 games now, one against Milan and one against Stuttgart. I think they've lost only 2 games this season, just like Inter 3 games but same teams. लीग में अनबीटन है but they I think 6th or something. यार Conceiçao आके of course सब लोग एक funny tweet देखा था कि Conceiçao आके ट्रॉफी जीत गया and it looks like a fighting team more than Juventus, which is not true. Of course Juventus also had a lot of injuries. तो योगेश क्या लग रहा है यार कि Juventus का what is it that they can't get it over the line? यार Juventus एक टाइम पे क्लियर मतलब वो लोग 30% पोजीशन पे जीते थे. They were known to win 1-0 games. अभी where do you think what is happening? अब इतना 6 महीना हो गया ट्रांजिशन, अभी भी बोल सकते हैं कि do you think now transition cannot be an excuse? Because Napoli is an example in front of you.
Yeah, definitely. Like Juventus का prime reason as an outsider अगर मैं बोलूँ for them not performing well is they are not finishing off the chances.
Yogesh and Bangalore का internet.
Hello. Yeah, I was saying Juventus are not finishing off their chances. Yeah, like they create so much, they hold on to the ball for so long. They try to create a good, like the entire team moves up, moves down with the ball, but they are not able to finish off their chances. And I think it's down to 2 3 reasons. Like one being Coop Miners has not hit the form that which he was in with Atlanta, right? And Juventus are also suffering from a very bad record of injuries, right? They are having injuries left, right, center. तो ये दोनों रीजंस की वजह से फिनिशिंग नॉट फिनिशिंग ऑफ द चांसेस एंड द नंबर ऑफ इंजरीज दैट दे हैव, I think their season is not been able to pick up, and I think their stat that they are still unbeaten in the league, it's just a matter of time. If they don't change up or do something in the winter market, I think they would not find themselves at a good position in the table come May end.
Yeah, makes sense यार. चांगते चांगते भाई वो भी शायद अफोर्ड नहीं कर पाएंगे. परम क्या बोलते हैं, वो भी चांगते को भी अफोर्ड नहीं कर पाएंगे हम लोग. It's not funny यार. But before going to Rohit, I'll come to Amir for one small thing. Amir, तू जैसे Fonseca के बारे में I'm just getting there. We saw Real Madrid Milan in the game and that Milan looked completely different. And then of course we drew against Cagliari and देखो coincidentally Amir we are playing Cagliari next only. So वो हाई नीचे करने के लिए कैलोरी था, एंड वी सॉ दैट गेम वाज बाप रे एरर प्रोन गेम था. सो ऐसा क्या है कि जो चैंपियंस लीग में उनका कंसंट्रेशन और मैनेजमेंट इज डिफरेंट और द प्लेयर्स मोटिवेशन इज डिफरेंट, ऐसा बोल सकते हैं? और जस्ट दैट रियल मैड्रिड वर क्वाइट बैड दैट डे, क्या था? व्हाट डू यू थिंक वेंट रॉन्ग विद मिलान ओवर देयर?
आई थिंक तूने जो सेकंड पॉइंट बोला है ना, मैड्रिड वेंट बैड, वो मैड्रिड का बहुत बुरा फेज चल रहा था. वो उस फेज में आई थिंक इट स्टार्टेड ऑफ विद मिलान. फिर मिलान के बाद वो 2-3 मैचेस बहुत बुरी तरह हारे थे. लिवरपूल से भी हारे थे, आई थिंक मिलान के बाद ही हारे थे. मैड्रिड का फेज काफी खराब था. वो एक ऐसा ब्लिप दिखा कि हाँ एक मिलान शायद अच्छा खेला है, बट आई थिंक वो मैड्रिड का ही बुरा परफॉर्मेंस था. मेरे को नहीं लगता कि वो मिलान कुछ किया है उसमें, टू बी ऑनेस्ट.
Yeah, Rohit, now I'll come to you. Yeah, now like of course, with you were very clear about why we hired Fonseca, and I asked this question before, and you were not there that time. So I'll ask you this question, yeah. Fonseca and Conceiçao, अभी जो shift हुआ है, of course यार सबको पता है 2 मैच में तो कुछ Conceiçao का strategy नहीं दिखेगा, tactic नहीं दिखेगा. We will not see that. Of course, it's very obvious in 2 games. What are the visible differences you saw from these 2 games compared to the Fonseca Milan?
I think first we have to go back to the Pioli time. So when Pioli was playing at the peak of his powers, we were a team that pressed a lot. We won the ball back, and we would like vertically pass, or we would dribble past the players and try to score a goal. So that was in one short line. That was how Pioli played. So now, like that strategy. I mean, in Italy, these coaches they're very tactically adept. They learn your style very quickly. So they started to park the bus, and we didn't have much ball players. We were struggling to beat that defense, and so we got found out. So then Pioli left. I think there was a thought in the management's mind that we should try and dominate games. We should be like Pep's Barcelona or Sarri's Napoli, where we can play this position. It's called positional play. What Guardiola plays is called positional play, where you use a zonal. It's a tactic where you use a lot of zonal marking. So we
Yeah,
we obviously, if you're going to play positional play, the best person to play positional play is Pep Guardiola, and we are not going to afford him. Then
yeah,
there were two options. One is Roberto De Zerbi. Three options actually: Roberto De Zerbi, Sari, Fonseca, and I think even we were also linked to Lopetegui. So
yeah,
Lopetegui also was a coach who's going for positional play. So when Fonseca came, so I don't know why. What maybe they Fonseca's experience of being in Roma might have tipped him to become the candidate. So we actually went for that, and playing positional play is not easy. It is a very difficult tactic. It is even Pep Guardiola took one whole season for even a top player like Kevin De Bruyne to adapt to his style of play. And it's not something that everybody can adapt to. You need to have a specific skill set to play. I mean, I'm not saying that what players we have are bad. I'm saying they are not used to positional play. And it's like Fonseca is somebody who says that I have a particular way of playing. You have to adapt to my style of play. Conceiçao is clearly opposite. He's more of pragmatist. He's more like I will make a style of play that suits to your style of play. So that is
okay,
the difference between these two. And when you're having a coach like Conceiçao, I felt yesterday the difference was we just played simple football. We didn't complicate matters. For me, I think the players looked extremely confused. They were like, where do we have to go? Like I could see there was a lot of confusion because if you're playing positional play, it's not just that you need to be technically good. You need to know what your teammate is going to do next. So when
yeah,
you're playing that style of tactic, it will take you one maybe a whole year. In between that, you need to have that individual quality. When you're having players like Musa, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Leao, Theo Hernandez, who are more like comfortable with dribbling and scoring rather than passing 100 times before scoring, I think Conceição was the coach that was actually needed. And
yeah,
obviously, Conceição also is gifted with the man management skills that Fonseca clearly lacked.
yeah.
So when you're
Which
having these
Pioli had,
skills,
which Pioli had.
Pioli had, yes, Pioli also.
Yes,
I think even if you actually see, I think even Gianpaolo and Fonseca, Gianpaolo is also another positional play coach.
and
So
tactician.
Gianpaolo and Fonseca have a lot of in similarity. I think all positional play coaches. I think even Guardiola, if you see it, they have a set way of playing, which is a non-negotiable. They're like,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is the way I'm gonna play. If you're gonna suit to my team, well and good. Otherwise, you're out of the squad. That's how I mean Guardiola can afford to do that, right? He's the
yeah,
best coach in the world. He has a blank checkbook. So when you're having that thing, then that's fine. But but for a team that is not having a blank checkbook or is not resourceful enough, I think it's better to be more pragmatic. And one more thing, Chintan Bhai, I wanted to say, you asked Amir Bhai a question about why we were able to beat Real Madrid and not Cagliari. I think teams like Real Madrid, Liverpool, all these Champions League teams, they come at us to win the matches.
yeah,
They come at us to win matches. It for them 3 points is what they want. They want to play attacking football, so they leave spaces. Even though they knew that Leo is our left winger, they left him one on one versus Vasquez, who is not a very good defender. I mean, Carvajal is injured, so when you're having this kind of when you're having that kind of tactic, so when especially our players, when you get space, if you give space to Leo, he's gonna kill you. So
Yeah, that is
that's why we were doing very well against Madrid, but
all
against
Champions League teams.
Cagliari,
All
yeah,
Champions League teams, we did decent.
all Champions League teams. All, no, actually, not even all Champions League teams. I think Slovan Bratislava didn't play that way. Slovan
No, I
Bratislava
think
played,
yeah, you're right. But I think against Bayer Leverkusen also we didn't deserve to lose that
Yeah.
game. Only
yeah,
Liverpool
even
was the
against,
game I think we were terrible. That's it.
yeah, yeah. Even Slovan Bratislava, they were playing with 11. I mean, they were playing with all 10. I didn't even see a striker. They were not even having a striker. They were playing with 10 players behind the ball. So it's
Yeah,
very
that is correct.
difficult to break this down. So against Cagliari, we had the same issue where against Cagliari, I think many other teams we had the same issue where they would defend in Italy. All these teams they prefer to defend
Sit back.
with they prefer to defend and get a point out of teams like Milan and or out of Juventus or out of
Juventus.
Inter rather than go for the win and get killed. I think that is
Mm.
one of the biggest faults that of the coach that was with Frosinone last year. Um,
Di
Param, help
Francesco.
me.
Yeah, sorry. You said
Frosinone
Di
is
coach of
Francesco, yes, Di
Di
Francesco,
Di
Di
Francesco.
Francesco. Of
Francesco.
course, I
Yeah,
Oh
don't
the
like
yeah,
him.
last year,
Param's
yeah, the
favorite
I
scorer.
last
do
year,
not like.
yeah, I think last year when Frosinone was leading 2-1 against us, I was like, okay, chalo, they're gonna park the bus now. They're 2-1, but they started
Yeah,
attacking us, and we went
but
we scored 2 goals and we won that game. Jovic with a what 78th or 80th minute header. So Di Francesco's biggest problem is that he's also another
But
non-pragmatic coach.
don't say anything about defense because Param will get offended. His favorite coach है. अभी current lineup में उसका favorite coach है वो यार. But
we
yeah,
are about to face it. Yeah.
Rohit, you got
बोलो
it
बोलो.
perfectly right यार. परम मेरे को एक बहुत burning question तेरे को पूछना था यार. थोड़ा तेरा mood अच्छा करने के लिए परम एक question पूछता हूँ तेरे को. If any Atlanta fans are here, please shut your ears. परम क्या है ये? What is this thing with Inter getting better of Gasperini and Atlanta? Is it जो मैं बोला था जो परम जो अभी रोहित बोल रहा था purely played only one particular way में जो press कर रहा था and Inzaghi found him out. Is it the same with Gasperini, Param? Because this can't be a one-off result, and it is
Yeah.
a mental block now. It is now. I saw the game, Param. That first 20 minutes, Inter should have scored 5-6 goals at least.
5-6 तो थोड़ा ज्यादा, but yeah, we could have probably 20 मिनट में 2 या 3 हो सकता था. Now,
Yeah.
but what I will say is कि Atalanta का जो approach है, it is a very more oriented towards man marking. Rohit spoke of zonal and everything. वो बहुत man marking oriented है, and it's not like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but ये Declan Rice ने भी बोला था when they faced Arsenal, and they
Yeah.
were shocked with Atalanta's intensity. They were like, भाई ये किसको खेल लिया हमने. उसने खुद बोला था कि प्रीमियर लीग में हम लोग ऐसे मैन मार्किंग वाली टीम के साथ कभी खेलते नहीं है इतना रेगुलरली.
Yes.
But we know how to deal with it because we have those kind of players that are press resistant or जो transition में can beat that kind of man marking. And again, I think we are one of the fewer teams
No,
that can match their.
I think. Sorry to interrupt. I think in Italy, there are very few coaches who play with zonal marking.
Yeah.
I think the only one I know who famously used is Saki.
Yeah.
Arrigo Saki is the one. But I
Yeah,
think
that
ever
was.
since Catenaccio ke time se, I think they are using man marking, and man marking is like the crux of Italian football. So, but this concept has not gone on to other countries even now, unless maybe since Juric has gone to Southampton, maybe he will use man marking. Otherwise, I think man marking is something that is predominantly used in Italian football, and it's a very
Yeah,
big weakness of positional play.
yeah, and that's where, look, Gasperini का वही है ना कि Chindan, I will say, as good as Atalanta are, obviously they're fantastic. I think we are one of the few teams that can match them physically as well, or outmuscle them here and there. And just having played them for so long, I think there is that sense of familiarity every time we step onto the pitch with them. तो ये मतलब नहीं कि अगले टाइम जाके भी हरा देंगे, because it's not that simple. You have to consider that they are still a very strong squad and they could still bolster their team in January. But यही बोलूंगा कि सेमीफाइनल में जब खेला, I felt like even if, let's say, we would have probably played a Zielinski in there or a Fratesi, maybe तो भी कैसे तो रिजल्ट निकाल लेते, तो शायद फाइनल के लिए एक थोड़ा ज्यादा बेटर फ्रेश स्क्वाड रहती. But that's besides the point. I feel, again, to answer your question very simply, I feel if you notice the movements also, how we get past their defense, if you watch the both goals in the recent uh, game as well, it just simply I think we've understood how Gasperini sets up very well, and uske jo patterns rehte, how they press and everything. And again, it's, as you said, it feels very easy on the eye when I see how we outmuscle them physically in midfield. And we've talked about their backline not being the greatest, right? Chindan, I still feel they need to bolster that. I feel बड़े teams के against उधर ही वो लोग मार खाएंगे. I feel this version of Milan also could be very problematic for Atalanta in the future whenever you guys face each other. Not the biggest fan of that backline. So yeah, I feel Atalanta सबसे ज्यादा उधर ही मार खा लेती है. And by the way, just for anyone in the comments saying not taking comments, ये वो ले रहे हैं, but too many toxic comments unfortunately these days from both a few Inter fans and Milan fans as well. तो भाई, huh?
Yeah, guys, let's keep it very.
No, no.
You're not
Yeah,
here
yeah.
to.
And by the way, obviously, some people have definitely missed the memo. By the way, our goal of our community has been very clear. We don't entertain toxicity. That's why we've made the WhatsApp group. We have A. That's why this channel is there. B. And if you want to be toxic, this is not the place, man. If you're, as again, it goes for क्या बोलते हैं, everyone. We don't entertain toxicity here. तो banter तो एक चीज है, but don't make this community toxic. Let's move on with the discussion apart from that.
अच्छा, यार अमीर, ये बता यार, लास्ट टाइम तेरे को कभी याद है कि मिलान ने कमबैक किया था अगेंस्ट इंटर? आई तो लाइक आई एक्चुअली डोंट रिमेम्बर दिस यार. वो सूसो के सामने विन, आई थिंक फॉर मी द मोस्ट मेमोरेबल विन इन द लास्ट डेकेड और सो जो बैंटर है, वो सूसो वाला विन था जब वो सूसो ने मारा था कर्लर, and I think 2-0 or 3-0 we won that game. I think is my fondest memory of one whole decade. So यार, I don't think मेरे को याद है यार अभी कोई ऐसा कमबैक विन हुआ था.
मुझे इंटर छोड़ दे, कमबैक बोला तो मुझे खाली वो बोअटाइन का हैट्रिक याद आता है, लेचे वाला. हाँ, उसके अलावा और कोई ऐसा मेमोरी है ही नहीं कि इधर कमबैक किया होगा हमने.
हाँ, वही है यार. So yeah, before I think अभी I think काफी सारा कवर कर लिया. We'll have a separate stream of course for the Serie A games and all. यार तो before we go off यार, अमीर, हम लोग disgruntled fans बोल सकते हैं. We are the senior citizen of fans. अमीर, क्या बोलते हैं? We are from the generation which we are so used to winning.
मिलान ऑर्कुट वाला.
Milan, exactly. Milan Orkut wala. That is how far we go, me and Amir go, guys. So my question to you is, now that we have seen that Milan, जो इतना जीतता था, when you played even against the Bayern, and I still remember, I think Milan are one of the very few teams which has a positive, head-to-head against Real and Bayern actually. So my question to you is, जो अभी ये नया कोच आया, as you said, इतना heavy CV वाला, regardless of what the squad we have, do you see this Milan now showing some mettle? Because सब लोग बोले, Param has been saying that Conceiçao is such a defense pragmatic coach है. रोहित भी बोला है, he is very defense oriented coach है. Do you think this is the need of the hour, अमित, कि यार पहले concede मत करो, fancy football तो खेल लेंगे? Do you think that is the need of the hour, or you want to still go back to the get me the flair players? What do you think Milan needs to do now? Because we definitely can't afford those Brazilians anymore.
अभी कमिंग स्ट्रेट टू द पॉइंट, अभी हमको क्या करना है कि चैंपियंस लीग में जितना दूर जा सकता है दूर जाओ. आई थिंक कॉन्सेसाओ हैज दैट एबिलिटी. मेरे को उसमें वो पब्लिक कॉन्टे बोलता है, मेरे को उसमें सिमियोने दिखाई देता है.
By the way, Amir, it's so funny. I told Param this last time only that पता नहीं मुझे ऐसा क्यों लग रहा है he's the coming of Simeone, who is not easy to beat.
मेरे को सिमियोने का सेकंड कमिंग लगता है. दैट्स वन पॉइंट. सो आइडियली अभी हम लोग मिलान को फोकस करना है, टॉप 4 फिनिश करना है और चैंपियंस लीग में जितना दूर जा सके ट्राई करो. और टू बी ऑनेस्ट, कॉन्सेसाओ ठीक है, एक बड़ा कोच आया है, बड़ा सीवी के साथ आया है, बट क्या उसके अंदर वो एबिलिटी है कि वो प्रेशर, मिलान का प्रेशर झेल पाए? वो एक देखने लायक होगी, क्योंकि ही हैज कोच्ड पोर्टो। पोर्टो प्रोबेबली वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट क्लब्स इन पोर्चुगल, बट पोर्चुगल और इटली को आप कंपेयर नहीं कर
वो
सकते हो मिलान का हिस्ट्री
but
से।
Amir, if I can just
और
chip in for 1 second, right,
हम्म
before you continue,
हम्म
एक चीज बोलूंगा,
हम्म
obviously the pressure in Milan is obviously way more, वो तो obvious है, but Porto में the pressure he had to undergo was unreal. Like I mean, the Portuguese media, जो हम Italian media की बात करते हैं, right, कितना फालतू की चीजें
हम्म
बात करते हो,
हम्म
Portuguese media is probably 200 times worse than that. I would say, I'm not even exaggerating. And constant pressure, ऊपर से the fact that he had to publicly even have an argument with the Porto president, which lasted for a long time, fight to get the players
हम्म
he wanted, which he still didn't get. So I'm not saying he obviously, as I said, Milan is the bigger club and whatnot, but I feel वो already उस type का pressure झेल चुका है कि to the point where when if he does feel pressure at Milan, I feel he'll already be well conditioned enough to kind of face it. Is my opinion, at least. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. You can go ahead.
अगर वो देखो ये सीजन निकल जाएगा, जैसे तैसे निकल जाएगा, नेक्स्ट सीजन अगर सरवाइव करता है ना, देन कॉन्सेसाओ हैज अ फ्यूचर इन मिलान प्रोबेबली।
Hmm.
नेक्स्ट सीजन इंपॉर्टेंट होगा उसके लिए। ये सीजन आधा सीजन निकल गया, अब उसको बोला रहेगा तुम एटलीस्ट टॉप 4 ऐसा बोला रहेगा, लेकिन मिलान का मैनेजमेंट
हाँ.
टॉप 6 में भी शायद खुश हो जाए, जो हालत है अभी।
Hmm.
Yeah,
तो
and
एज
Yeah,
will
लॉन्ग
yeah,
the
एज
yeah.
जाओ चैंपियंस लीग में टॉप 4 फिनिश करो, दैट वुड बी द बेस्ट आउटकम फॉर मी। और कॉन्सेसाओ आई थिंक कर सकता है, प्रॉब्ली कर सकता है, क्योंकि उसके अंदर वैसा वो है। उसका डायलॉग भी है ना कि मेरे लिए, आई थिंक पोस्ट मैच में उसने बोला था कि मेरे लिए रिजल्ट टिकी, मेरे लिए टिकी टाका वही
tiki
है जो
taka
नेट में
go,
जाता है बॉल।
yeah, the once you put the
वो
ball
मेरे
in,
लिए
that's
टिकी
tiki taka
टाका।
for. Yeah, yeah, you're right, very clear funda yaar. But before we end up, Rohit, first of all, सब लोग ने of course sum up किया है, everyone has summed it up that this is it. My question to you is, will the management back him, or will he be left out to dry? One thing is there, as Param has also mentioned, we have seen it, he's not the one who's going to be quiet about it. So do you think the management will back him?
I think one thing Param also left out about Porto was that I think they had not won anything for 7 years before
Yeah, of
Conceiçao came
course.
in.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is,
so that is a big burden on. That was a big burden because they. I mean, we know how Portugal is always the traditional three.
yeah.
So Porto had not won, and Benfica, I think, Benfica was the one who was dominating the Portuguese league. Porto did well. I think Porto did well once in the Champions League under Lopetegui, where they beat Bayern or something in one leg, but Bayern heavily defeated them in the second leg. So I think
Yeah.
Conceição is
When Casemiro was at Porto.
Yeah.
yes. So Conceição is actually very used to pressure, and
Yeah,
he
exactly.
knows he knows how the Italian league works because he's worked here. He's played here
Yeah.
for 6 7 years. So I think for him pressure won't be a big problem. I think Chintan Bhai, now it is the time to back the manager. We
Exactly.
backed purely quite okay. I was very unhappy with the way that the managements since I think Baka have not given the any of the managers a good striker. I think maybe Leonardo can maybe I can give him a excuse that he tried to give Gattuso Higuain, but other than
Yeah.
that, we no one of the sporting managements have given a good striker to our coaches. So if you look at our own history, even though we've had amazing, I mean not amazing, legendary defenders, we have also had Marco van Basten, we have also had Shevchenko,
Sheva.
we have had people Sheva,
Yeah.
Pipo Inzaghi, we've had Ibrahimovic, we've had Donadoni, not Donadoni, we've had Bierhoff, we have so many other top strikers who can score 20 goals. So we need that one striker. I've been very vocal about it on my Twitter since 2 3 years now. That
Who's
even
that Feyenoord
Nesta,
striker? I like him. Yeah, I like that Feyenoord striker.
Santiago.
Santiago Jimenez, Santiago
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jimenez.
he's good. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
quite decent.
He got
I
injured.
mean,
He got injured for 3 months, but I think he came back He scored against City that game in that 3-3 draw.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know why we are linked to Darwin Nunes. He is having a very abysmal record in finishing. It's like if we, all the strikers that we want. I mean, the ones we have signed also. The ones we signed was the Morata. Morata is not a big.
Mm.
I mean, it's not a very famous guy for finishing. I mean, he's
yeah,
good
not a
with
big
Yeah.
the.
goal scorer. He's not a big goal scorer.
He's not a big goal scorer. Same for Xerxes. He's not a big goal scorer. He scored 9 goals last season. I don't know how
Mm.
people were asking us to spend 55 million on him. Then
Mm.
Morata came. Then Tammy was a last minute signing. Jimenez,
Yeah.
I think, is the striker that we wanted. I would have even tried for Pavlidis, but he went to Benfica. So
Yeah,
these kind of the strikers we want. And no matter what, I mean, I don't know what is the plan of the management because Conceiçao also has a 6 month contract. So
Yeah. 6 months.
even if we change the manager at the end of the season, which is highly unlikely to happen, whoever is the manager next time or whoever it is, I mean, even if it's Conceição, I think the striker, any good team will have a top striker. Whether if you're looking at Manchester City, they have Haaland. If you're looking at
Mm.
Real Madrid, they have Vinicius Junior. So you need that striker to finish their chances for you. Last year, Inter Milan had Lautaro Martinez, who converted even those half chances. Napoli's
exactly.
success Napoli's success came because of Osimhen finishing the chances. Lazio
Mm.
had Immobile finishing the chances. For I think Juventus they had Higuain and Cristiano Ronaldo. So if you want to do that, you need to finish the chances. So for me, striker is number one priority. Then I think
Mm.
you need to have a backup for Leao and Theo Hernandez. They can't play 50 games. Then I think we need to have a proper defensive midfielder, ball winning player. I am not very
भाई
convinced
राइट बैक
about
चाहिए
Richie.
पहले.
Right, हाँ, right back, bhai, right back.
Bro, we have the second coming of Cafu.
But
You
I think वो
guys look wish
Jimenez
list
is
तो भाई बहुत क्लब का है wish list तो बहुत क्लब का बहुत
नहीं
सारे
यार
जगह पे pick कर
this is not even wishes. I feel जैसे Amir बोला, I think we don't have a starting like yesterday. People were of course dissing on Royal. He got subbed out. So people are चलो ये बाहर जा रहा है. Then you see who's coming on the pitch. That is
yeah
even scary.
exactly
Calabria.
So that is not
yeah
like a
yeah
Jimenez, and of course everyone knows यार कि Jimenez is eventually going to go back.
yeah
Because
yeah
I don't know why do we
Well,
do such deals. So
yeah
दिखाने के
that's where I was saying right if we really pushing to sign Nico Paz भाई buyback डाल रहे हो तो नहीं चाहिए मेरे को मतलब we did that for Hakimi right like the way we signed Hakimi when we signed him we negotiated a future sale clause instead of a buyback कि अगर हम future में बेचेंगे तो you will be informed and then if you want to buy that player you buy him back but we never had it so I guess Milan can obviously work on that area because if Alex Jimenez bursts out into a talent, Real Madrid will come calling. Unfortunately,
by the
that's
way,
how it works.
he's already playing amazing.
Yeah,
He's playing out of
exactly, exactly.
position and so confident. Yeah. So guys, anyways, a lot of comments and as Param said, यार थोड़ा argument भी हो रहा है, guys. Come on, take it easy.
Argument. I
Yeah,
have to give it up because I think people just want to be toxic
Param छोड़ दे.
unnecessarily.
So guys, just
Daddy,
chill. It's
I just
okay.
wanted to bring up this comment because it's actually a fact. Obviously, that's why I'm bringing this up.
Yeah.
Actually, AC Milan tied and Inter Milan have now the same number of
Param,
SuperCoppa titles. And Juventus
8.
are in the lead. Juventus are
नहीं,
in the lead, of course.
I will only believe same number of league titles होगे ना. That is the only thing which I will want.
नहीं
Same number
नहीं
of league titles. Star number 2
वो
चाहिए अभी.
देखो वो I mean yeah obviously that matters more but again as I said कि a trophy is a
Trophies
trophy
are, but
community
yeah.
shield is different this comes halfway through the season this gives us some
No,
money our club can keep
Param, I think the English football competition is different. I think they have
yeah
the what is that Carabao Cup or something like that.
yeah they
Yeah.
do have a fourth they do have a fourth obviously
Yeah.
Carabao Cup
Yeah, so
uh,
I think we can actually say that the Super Cup is something like the Carabao Cup now.
yeah I guess you can I guess but then again that's like a proper competition na Rohit like that's a proper lengthy matlab competition
No,
that
but
goes
now
on for a while.
I think the 4 team they've made it very interesting. Middle of the
Yeah,
season
yeah,
is the
four team La Liga model use कर लिया. But yeah, I feel कि for you guys, I think this was much needed as I say, even as a rival, because you have to follow up with other trophies. That's my I'll repeat it again. You can't one Scudetto ठीक है, and yeah, sure, that was a bit unexpected in the sense of how Pioli dragged that. मतलब Pioli brought the best out of that team. But this is important because you're coming, you were in a weird phase in the league, पर आप लोग चैंपियंस लीग में टॉप 8 में फिनिश कर सकते हो, and then you had to win this. And as Amir said कि Conceiçao, with Conceiçao you can hope at least in the knockout games to do something well in the Champions League. Now anything can happen in any knockout game, and Conceiçao, जैसे रोहित ने बोला थोड़ी देर पहले, he generally has a decent record, good to decent record in the knockout phases of a European competition, even be it in the Europa League or the Champions League. So I think there is much hope for you guys to be at least positive. Abhi, only thing I would say is कि obviously has to be backed, as you the question you asked Chintan bhai, वो जनवरी में किस एक्सटेंट तक होगा वो obviously let's see. But the real test will be I would be, if he does decent also, I would be quite surprised if you guys don't retain him in the
And
summer.
one more thing, Param. I think any coach of Porto will have to be a good player develop. Good at developing players, because that is
Yeah,
their, that is
yeah,
their whole
USP, yeah,
mantra,
that
right?
is how.
You get the players and you have to develop them, and then you sell them, and then you get the revenue. So that whole thing. So I think
mm,
under him you have Vitinha and I
yeah,
think Neves, Ruben Neves. No, not
Yeah.
Ruben Neves, right?
No,
not
Ruben Neves.
Ruben.
पेप
Uh,
उनका विंगर भी कुछ पेपी है ना शायद.
Pepe, the Brazilian
Not
Pepe, like
Pepe, not Pepe. This guy Luis Diaz,
Luis
Luis
Diaz,
Diaz. Yeah,
yeah.
Luis Diaz was there. Luis Diaz was there.
Luis Diaz,
Jesus Corona.
Taremi,
I mean,
And who's that
Jesus
Bournemouth
Luis
striker?
Diaz,
Corona.
Taremi,
Yeah,
Who's that
Brahimi.
Taremi.
Bournemouth? Who's that Bournemouth striker जो भी गया Bournemouth में? Edmil.
Evan Nielsen. Evan Nielsen. Evan
Evan
Nielsen.
Wilson. Yeah, very
No,
good player. I
Emiliano
like
is
him.
still in Porto, right?
No, he
No,
went
no,
to
no, no,
Bournemouth
no. He left. He left for Bournemouth.
this season only.
Acha, okay.
चलो
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
So
But
yeah,
no, no. But
yeah.
the
So
point
you
is, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
मैं वही बोला कि
go
1
ahead,
hour
go ahead.
17 minutes हो गया है. Such a interesting conversation.
Yeah, long
And
stream, long stream.
it is very funny. We have 3 Milan. बहुत कम पहली बार हुआ है. We have 3 Milanisti here and 1 Interist. So yeah,
No,
I know
we
there's
got
a
this. We got this idea from Ajay bhai because obviously Ajay bhai did his own version of a Roma fan stream when they beat, obviously after the derby win over Lazio, and we hope to have more of these with, we'll try to do it with Inter and UA as well, a separate edition. Uh, but yeah, I think any closing thoughts from you guys?
So, yeah, one closing question for all three of you. One by one, I'll take it. Param, I'll realistic here. For Param and Rohit, realistic questions. Param, with you. In the current market, you think अपने मन में सोचे कि इंटर कितना स्पेंड करेगी. रियलिस्टिक टारगेट क्या रहेगा फॉर समर ट्रांसफर, अभी विंटर ट्रांसफर में फॉर यू? हु डू यू थिंक इंटर विल गो फॉर?
एक तो हैरी ने भी वही क्वेश्चन हैरी ने भी वही पूछा है. आई डोंट नो इफ these guys will sign because yesterday even one of the reliable sources in the Italian mercato, Gianluigi Longari, said कि Inter are now again seriously considering signing because most of जो भी injuries हो रही है Inter की सब defense में ही हो रही है, which is I don't know what's the thing over there. If you have to sign one, it has to be a defender that can last you, a high potential defender. I was having a chat with Rohit also, and he said कि sorry, high potential as in future के लिए, for the long run, so that once you sell Acerbi or De Vrij in the summer or whatever you do with them, ये लॉन्ग टर्म तो लास्ट करेगा. बट आई डोंट थिंक दीस गाइज विल साइन एनीवन इन जनवरी, मुझे लग नहीं रहा है. बट इफ आई वुड लव टू हैव समवन इज ऑब्वियसली सेंटर बैक, नथिंग एल्स, और कुछ जरूरत नहीं है. अर्नाटोविच को आप बीच में नहीं निकाल सकता as much as I want him out because he's important for the dressing room. Apparently he has a good rapport with everyone, so you can't just kick out someone who's good for the dressing room. And it sucks that it has to be Arnautovic. That is the key factor in that dressing room. So yeah, I would just say एक center back मिल गया तो ठीक है, नहीं मिला तो क्या ही बोल सकता है. Yeah, but my realistic thing is कि I don't think there'll be any signings and there'll be no outgoings as well. If unless Fratesi throws like a mega tantrum and we somehow sell him and maybe get an average replacement, I don't know, but I don't see that happening. I think he also leaves in the summer. But yeah, I see no movement for Inter in the January market.
Rohit, for you, just in short, you see Milan buying anyone, and if so, then which position?
I think there's a real possibility we might sign somebody in the attack department. I think Okafor is probably going to leave. Maybe 10
Yeah.
10 to
Yeah.
12 million max we might get for him. I'm expecting us to spend 20 million. Maybe we might get somebody for the attack. That's it. Not I don't expect more than one or two players this January mercato.
Okay. And Amir, तेरे लिए different question है. We spoke about how Vinicius Junior has reached his peak. Liao is now playing under his third manager. यार fourth manager बोल सकते हैं. But finally, do you see, or if can happen, do you actually see Milan Liao touching his peak? मतलब हो जाएगा. Can he reach his potential? जैसे विनी जूनियर
ले
होके
ले
खेल रहा
लेआओ
है.
है लेआओ का एज कितना है? आई थिंक 25 26 होगा अभी, मोर और लेस।
हाँ
26.
25 26 होगा.
26 है, टाइम है उसके पास अभी भी। पोटेंशियल तो काफी ज्यादा है वो प्लेयर में, हाई पोटेंशियल वाला प्लेयर है। अगर उसको राइट कोच मिल गया, और लेट्स से अगर मिलान में नहीं हुआ, प्रॉब्ली दूसरा कोई बड़ा क्लब में जाके वो कर सकता है, पोटेंशियल रीच कर सकता है। मेरे को लगता नहीं है, प्रॉब्ली जब तक ये करंट मैनेजमेंट है, ले आओ वो बैलन डोर वाला पीक हिट कर पाएगा अंडर मिलान, तो लगता नहीं है। प्रॉब्ली अगर मिलान के बाहर गया, सिटी गया, मैड्रिड गया या इंटर गया, शायद कर पाए।
बट या ये
ये
एक
मैंने ये मैनेजमेंट में बैलन डोर मेरे को नहीं लगता, चांस ही नहीं है।
you just
भाई,
last few comment
इसका
I'll take
एक
I'll just
आंसर है.
simple answer है. I mean पैसा नहीं है गुरी. I mean if you root for Atalanta you should be happy कि भाई तुम लोग का मॉडल है वो है. Mihir Richie seems like you guys will make progress for the summer, so and a lot of significant steps have been taken. देखो realistically Richie को जनवरी में लाना बहुत मुश्किल चीज है because he's also extended his contract with Torino. But summer के लिए I know Rohit Rajiv has his doubts because the Cairo factor, and I know Rohit can't stand Cairo, and I understand even I can't stand Cairo, and I know not the most optimistic deal to not the deal you have to be most optimistic about because you have to deal with Torino and Cairo and it's very difficult, but I can see it happening. Let's see.
Param, I wanted to ask you one thing. What's the? I mean, is there any truth about Beto going to Torino?
So apparently Beto is in the crosshairs of Atalanta and Torino both. Atalanta are apparently considering Beto or Dominic Calvert-Lewin, obviously, which means you'll be seeing Chintan switches allegiances very soon because his lookalike will be joining Atalanta, it seems. But yeah, it seems like Beto is definitely a concrete target for Torino. There is definitely truth to that. I was checking because interestingly, before you asked this, before we went live, I was just going through some transfer news and it seems like it's quite concrete because Duvan Zapata to injured hai, right? So and they really need a striker right now. They're quite they're not in a good place right now. But yeah, let me just take the last few comments and we can just close this. Yeah, I think Milan we discussed, Ajay. Is Scalvini on the cards? Scalvini again, he'll always be in the radar, but it's not easy to afford Harry. Matlab, you know, Atalanta is going to ask for a bomb, so I think he stays at Atalanta at least for whatever time he stays. Italians, matlab, we don't have the money anyways. I mean, it's not like we are stingy. Paisa matlab zyada hai nahi utna. Redbird is ownership here. Layout, I don't see all this happening, man. I see Leao continuing at Milan though. I really do.
I mean, Barcelona are
money to
not
register.
able to register a player.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry. I know if you're a Barca fan, we don't mean any disrespect, but भाई आप लोग का इधर registration में struggle हो रहा है. डैनी ओल्मो का situation चल रहा है. भाई वो मतलब वो अलग ही है. पहले वो sort out कर लो यार before we think of Leao.
And what even if Milan do sell Leao, जैसे अमीर बोला कि शायद, one thing is certain, Milan will not sell Leao for cheap. वो तो guarantee है. Milan टोनाली को इतने में बेचा था.
Definitely not.
80 to 100 million तो Leao का ले ही लेंगे. And rejuvenate हो जाए. If he finishes his season like this, how he's playing today, उसका तो पैसा आएगा. He's a match winner. You can't deny it.
Yeah.
He's a match winner. So उसका तो 100 million तो आएगा. क्या बोलते हैं अमीर? 100 million तो I think we should get for him. Otherwise, no point selling him also. So
before go ahead, Amir, go ahead.
देखो प्रॉब्लम यहाँ पे है ना, दो अभी अगर कॉन्सेसाओ आने के बाद पूरा डायनामिक्स चेंज हो गया है। जब तक फोंसेका था मेरे को दो चीज दिखाई दे रहा था, या तो थियो जाएगा या तो लेआओ जाएगा। अब कॉन्सेसाओ आने के बाद डायनामिक्स चेंज हो गया है। अब डिपेंड करता है कि ये कितना दिन हम स्ट्रेच कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि मोस्ट लाइकली देखो दोनों में से पहले तो थियो जाएगा, थियो जाना ही जाना है। उसके बाद लेआओ को कितना टाइम ये लोग होल्ड कर सकता है वो डिपेंड करता है। अगर मैनेजमेंट के साथ अगर इसका लफड़ा हो गया लेआओ का, तो वो तो खत्म है, जाना ही जाना है। मैनेजमेंट पैसा भी निकालने के लिए देखेगा, उसको रेडबर्ड को कर्जा चुकाना है। इतना सारा पैसा कहाँ से लेके आएगा? पैसा तो कमा तो नहीं रहे ये, कोई बड़ी डील तो आई नहीं है।
हाँ
सस्टेनेंस भी कुछ तो है इनके पास, वो नहीं है, वो बिकेगा ही। जितने बड़े प्लेयर आएंगे सब बिकेंगे, अनलेस हमारे पास कोई भी ऐसे पेट्रो डॉलर वाला बड़ा सऊदी अरब का या कतार का ओनर आएगा, प्लेयर बिकने हैं मिलान में। मेरे
वो
PIF
I think that
इसलिए
generally that's regardless the reality I guess most likely for Italian clubs anyways. मतलब
ये
there's
मुझे
not
मुझे एक्चुअली ये परम से पूछना है, हाउ इज इंटर सस्टेनिंग? इंटर का क्या सीक्रेट फॉर्मूला है कि
नहीं, I
इतना
mean अभी
टाइम से
वो एक
बड़ा
अलग
प्लेयर होल्ड
टॉपिक है
करके
कि
रखा है?
नहीं, I mean वो तो एक पूरा अलग डिस्कशन हो जाएगा अभी उस टेंजेंट पे जाएंगे तो मतलब we again obviously have cut costs over the year. ऐसा नहीं कि हमारे लिए स्मूथ सेलिंग रहा है कि it just that we have had a management that has found a way to get obviously certain ways of certain transfers done here, but we have also sold players. I mean अगर आपको Zhang era में याद होगा when the pandemic hit straight away left right center Hakimi Lukaku gone.
वो बीच में
Loans this
बैंक्रप्सी का भी आया था, बट स्टिल सस्टेन कर रहा है।
bankruptcy.
और
Well, that bankruptcy news was like completely off the mark, written by media that was not really aware of how it worked. Obviously, I'm not saying the financial situation at the time was great, but the bankruptcy thing was never really true per se. But obviously, since then we've implemented a very rigid policy, जो Oaktree भी अभी करने वाली है, right? It's about cutting costs, trying to make the club as lucrative as possible for a future sale. So वही है कि मैनेज किया है कैसे वैसे तो एंड अगेन यू सी यूए आल्सो यूए के पास कितने डेट यूए ओनली
अननेरी
बेनिफिट्स फ्रॉम द
फैमिली
फैक्ट
बहुत, हाँ, बहुत क्रिटिकल सिचुएशन में
एग्जैक्टली
है अभी तो फिलहाल। हाँ।
yeah but they benefit from the fact that they have a strong local backing, right? We both of our clubs don't really have that. UA benefit from that, but they also obviously look at their debts, look at Roma's debts. That's just the reality of the sport. अभी वो एक अलग tangent हो जाते तो उस पे बाद में कभी जा सकते on a general level. But yeah, that's just pretty much the
but
gist of
one
it.
good thing,
No, honestly,
one
honestly,
good
if
thing
you
is
if
that
if you
what
see one thing, sorry, Chintan bhai, one thing, I mean, one thing which Cardinale said, I think this whole thing about Italian bureaucracies is horrible, right? We have
Yeah,
been trying to build a stadium since what 10 years now,
let's
and
play.
we've not been able to. We're not even getting to
We want
any part.
Rohit will probably be like all of us will turn old by the time that stadium probably comes into existence, or even then it won't. Let's be real. वो तो
Yeah,
नहीं होने
we
वाला.
we
मेरे
we nah, we all know ये नहीं होने वाला है. So like
Yeah, exactly.
what some things which Cardinale said is pakka. Like Italian bureaucracy is horrible, and
Yeah, that is
I think what
true.
Amir Bhai's wish is, I don't think it's gonna happen, because I remember that Newcastle ka owner clearly said that the structure of the Italian league is horrible. I mean,
It is.
every 3 years, we all are praying ki some broadcaster takes up this Serie A, and we can get to see, instead of being Yalla and Inshallah, all these kind of websites. So it's like it's horrible, man. It's horrible until and unless I don't know the Italian league. We can see it's very romantic. It has a lot of
Yeah.
history, but if you ask me, Italian league is bullshit. It is the worst league, and since we are all, I mean, Param is a Inter Milan fan, we are all a Milan fans. We are like stuck to it. Otherwise, I'm telling you, this league is
Rohit,
horrible.
you said
If
you summed it up perfectly. It's romanticized. It's a तो क्या है हम लोग सब रोमांस में
and
अटके हुए
even
हैं. We will not
IPL
get
is
new fans.
even our IPL is having more market cap than Serie A. Even
Boss, IPL
IPL
is
has more broadcasting revenue than Serie A does. And I'm like, what the hell? I mean, it's like a one league country, and no, very few people watch cricket, and still it makes more money. How the hell? How the hell is
Mitchell
such a
Mitchell Stark, रोहित Mitchell Stark earns more than Inter Milan and AC Milan का पूरा बजट है, उससे में उतना से बिका है वो. 30 CR is more, वो बजट नहीं है इंटर मिलान और AC मिलान का. So it's a different tangent, the money flowing in, that is what सब लोग बोल रहे हैं. मैंने किधर कमेंट में पता कि ये लीग, this is technically the equivalent of their community shield. So they call that a Mickey Mouse trophy. हम लोग के लिए the winnings is 10 million, which is a lot of money for us. 10 million वाला एक player आ जाएगा. So yeah, anyways, yeah, this as you said,
Yeah,
Rohit,
let's
Param ne bola
It's a whole
discussion.
different tangent every time we talk about Italian
But
football, Chintan, mein, for sure.
yeah, वही ना,
But
we'll
yeah,
talk about it. We'll talk
yeah.
about it. I know a lot of वही चल रहा है same. I think people are commenting same thing. Italian Serie A is stuck backward and all that. But yeah, Param, I think it's right time to close the thing. Amir, any last words? Rohit, Amir, any last words? I hope to see you guys here often. First of all, Amir, any
Actually,
last
I
parting
wanted to
words?
say one thing. I think the test for Conceiçao is going to begin now. It has not
Yeah.
started. This was
Yes.
his honeymoon phase. This was his honeymoon phase. The test for any coach in Italian league is to play these bottom half teams, Cagliari, Udinese, all these terror ball teams. Those are the teams. Those 1-0 wins. You have to win those games. That's where those 3 points. That's where you win championships or you get to the top four. I think this is the most. Now is where how it's. This is where the games are gonna begin because and one good thing is that in Portuguese league, other than the top three, all teams play a deep block. I mean the defensive style of play. So
Yeah.
Conceição is used to seeing it. So I'm hoping that he knows how to break the deep blocks. So the test is gonna begin from what this Saturday. When do we play?
Saturday, Cagliari.
Saturday.
Saturday.
You
So
guys.
Saturday से शुरू हो जाएगा.
Hello, Amir.
Yeah.
Anything else? Anything to say?
I totally agree with Rohit what he said कि जो अगर चैंपियनशिप जीतना है तो जो बॉटम का जो टीम है जो बस पार्क करके रखता है जिसको अनलॉक नहीं कर पाता है हमारा अटैक वो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट है लेट्स सी इफ कॉन्सेसाओ वो चीज अनलॉक कर पाता है जो टीम पार्क कर देता है तो इट वुड बी अ वेरी इजियर टास्क फॉर अस एंड सबसे मैं बहुत जगह देखता है सोशल मीडिया में पब्लिक बोलते हैं अरे मिलान इज बैक चैंपियंस लीग जीतेगा ये जीतेगा अरे वो सब छोड़ दो चैंपियंस लीग अभी 10 साल दूर है फर्स्ट अपना लीग सुधारो लीग में अभी स्क्वाड इतना बड़ा डेप्थ है नहीं लीग पे फोकस करो 3-4 साल टॉप 4 पे फिनिश करो फिर उसके बाद चैंपियंस लीग का सोचो अभी आइडिया रहेगा बस हर साल चैंपियंस लीग क्वालिफाई करो वो आर्सेन वेंगर वाला मॉडल चाहिए आई होपफुली ये कॉन्सेसाओ के साथ रह के हम टॉप 4 फिनिश करते रहेगा और चैंपियंस लीग खेलेगा बस वही है और कुछ नहीं है
Wow, man. Why na? Insightful. We are none of that means it's very clear, Param. None of the Milan fans are really flying that high. Sabko pata real test is coming now. And Param, as usual, man, Inter are right there. My prediction still does not change. Without the injuries, I still think Inter are the favorites for UCL and the title, league title.
Test.
So
Yeah, I'll just say that key closing में यार test तो है. I mean, ठीक है. I mean, yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but yeah, it'll be a test. मतलब with the injuries and everything, because at the end of the day, you can see the drop off. But yeah, I mean, if you say we are the best, I mean, ठीक है. I can't even deny that because obviously वैसी squad बना के रखी है and performances भी रहे. But again, I can only because I was discussing with Rohit also a while ago. कि it feels like if this is the last like feel not last but I would say this feels like the time where we can do something maybe in the Champions League कुछ outright favorites ये वो नहीं बोल रहा हूँ but if things were to go our way this is the time it feels like so hopefully is all I can say you can't win every competition so that's all I can say I can only hope for the fact that this defeat yesterday has spurred on the team especially for players like Fratesi who do not seem interested कि भाई तुम्हें जाना है जाओ more than fair I don't like players holding back but if you want to leave until the time you're leaving you give your best and then you go at least so that you leave a good impression and the club can let you go for a lower price if needed so that's all I wanted to say in my closing hopefully we bounce back as well but yeah Chintan bhai anything from you before we close
nothing, yeah. Very, very, whatever it is, I want to live in the moment. It was a great win
of
yesterday.
course
Let's not forget 2 big wins against Juventus and Inter. Coming back from goal down just says a lot about the attitude. ये attitude से खेलेंगे Rohit and Amir. So definitely a good road for us. Let's take it step by step. So that is it.
yeah and as usual guys like share and subscribe I think we are close to 1.3 we are not that far off yeah no I meant like the subscriber count 1.3k
subscribers. Sorry.
Yeah, we're not far off from 1.3k. So again, do the needful, and अगर आप नए हो तो subscribe कर ही दो. And yeah, we'll be coming up with more content definitely Ajay bhai also has some videos planned, so definitely a lot more to come. There'll be the regular stream on Thursday as well before the Serie A kicks off. So पे सब होगा predictions ये वो. So as usual, subscribe guys. We'll see you very soon.